Hello and welcome to the show. Today, the question we're going to consider is if salespeople are a cost to the business. Salespeople, sales and marketing initiatives, marketers, whatever it is that you want to call these sorts of people or these sorts of initiatives, are they just merely a cost to the business? And the background is this. Now, obviously, running a business can be an expensive enterprise because you have to pay money for all kinds of things. In fact, if you're in this part of the world, you have to pay a whole lot for capital expenditure like power, water, what else? I mean, some people even have to provide their own transport and road infrastructure, depending on what kind of businesses that you're in. If you work in, you have to source some of your things from rural communities, things of that nature. So there are lots of business expenses that are involved in business. Now, because of that, there's a tradition or practice or whatever you want to call it of modern business where we look at some things as cost centers and then we look at some other things as profit centers. So cost centers are those things that we spend a lot of money on, but they don't necessarily tie into the profit function per se. So since they don't add to the bottom line, some business people don't take those things seriously. And if it's something you can dispense with, you end up dispensing with. And so that's why not a lot of businesses have HR functions, because first of all, it's a function of the size. Because if it's just you and, okay, let's take wedding photographers. If it's just you and two assistant shooters, then there's not much point in having an HR function. But you find that some people grow larger than that. You have studios with maybe 8, 10 photographers, a couple of video editors, stuff like that. And they don't think the HR function is important, and so they just dispense with that. And then for businesses that are even larger, maybe you have 100 people on staff or something like that, you think, well, I already have someone that does payroll and personnel, so there's no need to have human resources. So let's just dispense with that because human resources is just a cost center. So that's the rationale for doing these sorts of things. And then some people also think security personnel, cost center, they don't add anything to the bottom line. Well, they're there, they make sure that nobody steals our equipment, but you don't really think about human resources and security personnel as cost centers. Then, the other things that are thought of as profit centers, and these are things that you do that are directly tied in to bringing in revenue, bringing in profits, and that's the sort of thing that most business owners like to keep their eye on. So product lines, yes, people recognize that product lines are profit centers. So you back to the wedding photographer example, your the different kind of albums that you offer. Let's see, glossy albums, matted albums, traditional thick albums, lay flat albums. Let's see what else. Okay, it's been a while, so I can't remember all the product lines. The different kinds of frames, acrylic, glass, wood, traditional, and then different kinds of customer segments as well. Let's see what else. Northern brides. Okay, what do you call brides that are coming in from abroad? I can't remember the term. But anyway, the different customer segments that you have. So I'm sure that you guys, with this example, you guys get the picture. Oh, sorry about that. Another phone call coming in. And yeah, so, okay, I really should look to transitioning to recording the podcast using a computer instead of the phone. Okay, so where are we? I lost my train of thought. Okay, the background, cost centers, profit centers. Okay, yeah, so now we're talking about profit centers. So the product lines that you have, profit centers, customer segments that you have, profit centers. And so some business owners pay keen attention to these sorts of things. So why is this question important? It's important because some people see sales and marketing as cost centers to the business. Okay, sorry, I had to decline the phone call again. Where were we? Sorry, one moment. I think I'll just put this in airplane mode. That should stop any more calls from coming in. Necessity is the mother of invention. Okay. All right. Now, so these are the adventures of having to record a podcast in one go and not having an editor, because I guess an editor would have taken all these things out. So where are we? Okay, yes. So the reason why this is important, because some people see sales and marketing as cost centers, and because of that, they don't pay much attention to it because they think sales, that's a cost. You're hiring 5 people to go out and hit the streets to sell, or you're hiring one person to stay at your booth, assuming you're a wedding photographer, one person to stay at your booth at the wedding show while you go and cover a wedding. You're thinking in terms of cost, and because they're thinking in terms of cost and not in benefit, people shy away from some of these activities. That's marketing and sales related activities because they think in terms of cost. So you might have someone who's a realtor, a real estate agent. You have Abuja real estate fair coming up, and then they don't want to go there. They don't want to get a booth because they're thinking that, look, this is just a cost. It has no real benefit. So why should I bother spending money on it? And that's the reason why this is important. So that's the reason why people don't want to hire sales consultants, because they think that it's a cost and there's no benefit. That's why people don't want to hire more salespeople or marketers. They don't want to attend trade fairs. They don't want to advertise on radio. They don't want to advertise on Google. They don't want to advertise on Instagram because they think that it's all cost, 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 and there's no benefit. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people aim for organic growth. Not necessarily because the money is not there, but because there are even some people who have the money, but they just think that it's all cost and then there's no benefit. So that's the rationale. So if there's more cost than benefit, then there's no point in spending the money. Now, there's a problem with this approach, or rather, two philosophical problems that I have with this approach. Number one, it misunderstands the value and the role of sales and marketing. That's because some people think that there are products that sell itself and that referrals are what you need for business growth. So some people just assume that, look, my wedding photography is on point. It's really nice. My orange juice is the best. I source it from the middle belt from Benue State. So I source it from the best part of Nigeria. Is the best product. So therefore, it should sell itself. Let's see, what else? Okay, those are the only examples I can think of right now. My wedding photography speaks for itself. It should sell itself. My orange juice speaks for itself. Sourced from the finest ingredients in the world, so it should speak for itself. So there's that idea. And then referrals are what you really need for business. So I'm not going to invest in sales. I'm not going to invest in marketing. All I need is a happy bride. The happy bride will refer me, and then that's it. All I need is one hotel chain to buy 100 cases of my orange juice, and they realize that it's the best, and they're going to refer other people to me. So there's that idea, while people don't quite understand the value of and the role of sales and marketing. Then there's also another wrong idea that cost cutting or lean management, or is it Six Sigma? No, Six Sigma is not lean management, is it? I can't remember. It's been a while. So there's cost cutting, there's lean management, lean operations, whatever it is you want to call it. Some people assume that this is the greatest skill that you can exercise in business. And in fact, there are people who instead of spending money on sales and marketing endeavors, they'd rather spend money to go and get the lean management certification, because there are bodies out there. I don't know of any local bodies here in Nigeria, but there are bodies in America and the UK that offer certificates in lean management. So people would rather spend money to get these certificates in lean management rather than throw it into sales and marketing endeavors. So now let's see if we can tackle some of the issues that are raised by these sorts of thinking. Now, what's the role of marketing in business? Obviously, the role of marketing is to provide awareness, and that's important because nobody can buy your product or your service because they have to be aware of you in the first place. So you're a wedding photographer, or you do orange juice, you're sourcing it from the finest ingredients in Benue State, Taraba, wherever. But people have to be aware about you, first of all, before they can buy your product or service. Because the orange juice market, there's Coca-Cola there. I think Coca-Cola is the company that owns Five Alive. Yes, I think it's Five Alive. I know, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think Coca-Cola, Nigerian Bottling Company, they own the Five Alive product. So they're already there in the market. A couple of other entrants, you want to come into this. People are already aware about Coca-Cola and NBC, that's Nigerian Bottling Company. And they're all players in the market, so they have that credibility going on there. You are a new entrant. People need to be aware of you first of all before they can buy your fantastic orange juice that you have sourced using the finest products. And it's the same with wedding photography in Abuja. There are a couple of players that have been entrenched for a couple of years, I did my thing, still in the game, but not marketing wedding photography anymore. I have a team that handles all the inquiries that comes through. So I've been here 10 years. Now some people have been here older, 12, 15 years. I don't know anyone who is older than that when it comes to wedding photography. So if you are coming into the game this year or you came in last year, it's the same awareness. People need to know who you are and how you're different from my outfit and other people before they can end up doing business with you. So, the role of marketing in business awareness is really important because nobody can buy if they are not aware of your company, if they're not aware of your product lines, they're not aware of your services. Now, in actual practice, marketing ends up being a series of one-to-many conversations. That means there is you, the marketer, the business owner, who is blasting out messages to lots of people. You're blasting out messages to the world at large. So you're using advertising, you're using promotions, you're using online content, all kinds of things. Online content that includes things that you share on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook, the blog post that you write. If you happen to make a podcast, just like I do, that's what content is. And then advertising and promotions. I assume that everybody already has a fair understanding of what that is. Now, sales, on the other hand, is a subset of the marketing discipline. The way that I like to explain it to people during my seminars and trainings is I say marketing is the mother, and then sales is one of the babies or one of the kids. So, marketing is our mother, and then we salespeople or content marketing practitioners or public relations practitioners, let's see, what else? Copywriting practitioners. Yeah, we are all the children of marketing. So, marketing is our mother, and we are the kids. So, sales is a subset of the marketing discipline, and the focus of sales is one to one conversations where we're not only building awareness, but the goal is to confirm the order and to get the sale. So, this is how they work. Marketing, you blast it out there. There's a new company, Okechukwu and Sons Orange Juice, operating out of Nigeria. Support the local economy, support local businesses, finest ingredients sourced from Benue State and Taraba, best orange juice in the world. So that's what marketing is. That's the messaging that will go out on Instagram, on TV, on radio, or whatever. But people are not just going to automatically come and find you. The role of the salesperson is to start having those one-to-one conversations. You have one-to-one conversations with distributors. Say, hey, distributor, I'm sure you've heard about us. We've been on the TV, we've been on the radio. Well, we're here. Okechukwu and Sons Orange Juice, sourced from the finest ingredients, support local business, support Nigerian products, blah, 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 that whole spiel. Put us in your store. You won't be disappointed. So it's the salesperson that does that. That's a one-to-one conversation. Me, the salesperson, having a conversation with the store manager to stock Okechukwu and Sons orange juice. So we're not only building awareness, but we confirm orders. Okay, you want to place an order, 1,000 cartons at so price. We seal the deal, we get the sale. Or having one-to-one conversations with someone. Okechukwu and Sons might do a series of outdoor promotions where you are outside major retailers like, there's Grand Square in Abuja, there's Grand Square in Lagos as well. So you pick Grand Square in Abuja, you pick Grand Square in Lagos, and then you pick, what else? There's this big mall in Kano that also has outlets in Abuja and where else? What's it called again? Gosh, I can't remember. It's a South African outlet anyway. The name has just escaped me. So you pick Grand Square and then you pick that South African company that has outlets in Abuja, in Kano, and in Lagos. I think Port Harcourt, but I'm not sure. That's just a guess. So you go out there, you have the truck, people dancing, giving out samples. The people that are having one-to-one conversations with everybody that passes by. Hey, mommy, come, try out this orange juice. It's really nice. It's good for the kids. Finest ingredients in the world. Sourced from Benue and Taraba. Support Nigerian products. Support the local economy. Support Nigerian companies. That whole conversation, that's a salesperson. So that's how these things are related. But remember, marketing has lots of other children. There's the copywriting practitioners. Those are the people who are making sure that in marketing and advertising material, you use the right words. What else? There's the public relations practitioners. Those are the people that are making sure that the CEO of Okechukwu and Sons ends up on TV, on newspaper, on radio, managing his reputation, those sorts of things. So marketing and sales, and the other business functions are most directly responsible for bringing in profit. With the examples that I've given, with the wedding photographer and with Okechukwu and Sons, who has launched his orange juice business in Nigeria. So all these things, they are not cost centers, they are profit centers. Unfortunately, yes, they are expensive. If you're going to rent the truck outside in these multiple locations, these cities, outside those stores, you have to pay the salespeople, you have to provide refreshments for them, you have to provide fuel for the trucks, fuel for the screens, for the generators that are going to power the screens. Let's see, what else? You're going to have to pay for the t-shirts, because usually people dress alike when they're going for these sorts of things. So there's the cost of t-shirts. You also want media coverage, so you're going to be spending money on that. So yes, unfortunately, sometimes these things are very expensive. Well, for Okechukwu and Sons anyway, since they're selling orange juice and it's a large scale sort of thing. For the wedding photographer, on the other hand, the scale is not that big, so the expenses might not be that much. You bring out a couple of sample books. You want to attend one or two wedding shows. The entrance fee, 20,000, maybe 50,000. You know, at the end of the year, cost might not be that much, but of course, yes, it might seem daunting if you're a young man with kids. You have to pay school fees, you have to pay house rent. So yes, all those extra costs might seem daunting, but bottom line, they are not cost centers; they are profit centers, because the money that we throw in there, we're expecting to get something back. So we expect that if we go for this bridal show, we're going to book a number of leads. We expect that if we put Okechukwu and Sons on TV and radio and we do those things, that store managers will start doing business with us. If we're in more locations, more people get a chance to buy, and after a while, we become a household name. So the problem is not the expense per se. The problem is everybody thinks that sales and marketing should be intuitive, that you're born with it, that it's a gift, it comes naturally. And so because of that, everybody is freestyling, and that's what makes it ineffective in most businesses. So you think marketing, how hard can it be? My niece is good at Instagram. I'm going to make her my marketing director. So that's the way that Mr. Okechukwu of Okechukwu and Sons, who is coming up with his orange juice company, sourced with the finest ingredients from Benue State and Taraba, support Nigerian businesses, support the local economy, blah, blah, blah. So he thinks, that's all. I just tell my 15-year-old niece that, look, you're good at this thing. Come and be my marketing director. I'll pay you X amount every month. Let's make this thing blow up. You're really good at social media. There, go do your thing. That's the problem. You're assuming that it's intuitive and then it's easy and that your niece can do it, or that you can do it. In fact, I think hiring your niece maybe might even be better, because at least your niece will be able to devote all of her time and attention to it. And if she's an honest person and she's having difficulty, she'll look for help, she'll look for learning resources. But if you think everybody can do it, how hard can it be? Let me make that a part of my job role in the business. So apart from going to Benue and Taraba and negotiating with farmers and worrying about harvesting schedules and when you guys are going to process and worrying about power for the company, you also now decide that you're going to make it your responsibility, because it's easy. After all, how hard can it be? Everybody can do it. So you're now worrying about the press. Are you on TV? Are you on radio? Which stores are you in? You're talking to distributors. So that's the reason why most of these things fail. People think it's easy, should come naturally, it's intuitive, and so you don't have a clear plan for doing it, and that makes these things very ineffective. That's what makes sales and marketing ineffective. So if we need to do sales and marketing properly, if we need to do it effectively, it requires training, because there are frameworks around marketing and frameworks around selling. How do we find people? Where's the right target audience? How do we communicate our message? What kind of call to actions do we use? How are we going to move this relationship forward? When do we introduce the salesperson? What kind of conversation should we be having? What is the buyer journey? How are we going to craft it? How are we going to craft the customer buying experience? These are sorts of things that have frameworks, established frameworks behind it, and people have been coming up with these things for decades. So we should take advantage of all these things and take advantage of all the learnable skills, because they are learnable skills that can be imbibed by everyone and should be imbibed by everyone who comes in contact with the customers. So you should make sure that people who are customer and client facing, the sales team, you need to equip them, training for frameworks, make sure they learn the skills. The receptionist, make sure she knows the frameworks, the scripts, and make sure that she has the training. The delivery driver, make sure that they know what the script is, they know what the process is, they know the frameworks, they know how they fit into the grand scheme. The engineers who work on site, if you have a if your business is the sort where engineers are coming into the site or workmen are coming into the site, like plumbers coming into a house and things like that, these people also need to receive some sort of training, because there are some people that spend all this time and money, you get all the branding right, okay, like Okechukwu and Sons, you get the branding right, but then your driver shows up to deliver to the what's that word, to the shopping mall, but then he shows up wearing a white singlet and jeans, and of course you can see how it doesn't reflect the brand associations that you're trying to work with. And then of course the driver who is coming and interacting with the store manager and then other people, if he's not properly trained, not properly dressed, he doesn't realize the damage that he's making to the sales process, to the business relationships that you're trying to build, and those sorts of things. So that's why all these people need to be trained. So yeah, all these people that I've mentioned: customer salesperson, the sales team, receptionist, driver, delivery person, anybody that is carrying out work and interacts with the customer or client or the general public, we need to have training for these people. We need to make sure that everybody knows what the script is. We all know what the program is, and we're going along with the program. So if sales and marketing are only bringing you more cost in your business, then you're not doing it right. And the options are simple: learn how to do sales and marketing better. And you can do that by using free resources that we have all over the internet. For instance, this podcast, I think we have over 613 episodes now, free episodes out here. You don't have to pay anything to access these things. So the resources are there. They're free. This podcast is free. Take opportunity. Use YouTube, lots of places you can learn. Or you can hire a business consultant like me. And those are the options that you have to doing your sales and marketing better. Now, okay, I've already done 20 minutes, so let me see if I can wrap this up quickly. Okay, there's also this idea that the product or market sells itself. Does that happen? The answer is no. You need a salesperson or a marketer to talk to the distributor. In this case, like for Okechukwu and Sons, somebody needs to talk to the distributor to make sure that it gets to the market shelf. You also need salespeople to negotiate with stockists or traders. Sorry, excuse me. Now, but that's when we want to get our goods into the open market. We also need marketing, promotions, and sales skills. If you want to get on TV, or even if you're going to do your Instagram, you still need promotions and sales skills. There is no product that sells itself. So let's get that out of our mind. This whole thing of I'm the best photographer in the world, all I have to do is just put my stuff out on Instagram, business will come. That's not how it works. Or this thing that my orange juice is sourced from the finest ingredients in the world, from Benue, Taraba, Italy, and from Jamaica. So because I source them from the best ingredients in the world, and it's obvious that it has the best taste in the world, that's not how it works. There's no product or service that sells itself. And yes, referrals, we need referrals to grow a business. But unfortunately, referrals are not the only thing that will grow your business, because before you get the happy customer, a happy customer, by the way, is the foundation for good referrals in the business. But you don't get a happy customer if you don't have efficient selling and marketing skills in the first place. So that's why selling and marketing comes first. And you can't say, oh, I'm just going to build around referrals. Because crappy sales, crappy marketing is not going to create a happy customer. And because of that, you're not going to get good referrals. So invest in sales and marketing. That is what is going to create a good selling experience, a good marketing experience, a good customer service experience, blah, blah, blah. Bottom line, referrals do not create themselves. Cost cutting, lean management, is that the greatest skill that you can have in growing a business? The answer is no. Cost cutting is really, really important, because there's no point in being wasteful if we don't have to waste money. But the greatest skill is bringing in money in the first place. So if you're Okechukwu and Sons, orange juice, best in the world, sourcing ingredients from the best all over the world, yes, we need to keep costs low. Make sure that shipping costs are not too expensive. Negotiate properly with the farmers. Make sure that there's quality control. All that stuff is really important. But the greatest skill is bringing in money in the first place, because it's only when you have money that you can quibble over you're being wasteful or not. You have to get the money somehow before you set up your orange juice factory. You're going to be talking to investors, to bankers, or I doubt you're going to be using your savings if you want to open an orange juice orange juice production facility. So sales and marketing skills, that's what's going to bring money from the investors. And then you can worry about whether you're paying farmers too much, or whether you're paying shipping companies too much, or whether you're spending too much money producing power, or paying too much money on diesel and transportation and stuff like that. So the skills that allow you to bring in money in the first place, those are more important. And of course, that's sales and marketing. And it's the same thing with our young wedding photographer who's just coming into the business. You're going to need money in the first place. You want to get money from your rich uncle to buy your cameras. That's sales and marketing right there. It's not cost cutting to begin with. So money only comes into the business when the customer has been created, and the customer pays for the product or the service. And when they give us money, that's what we use to practice all our fancy certification, lean management certificate, ISO, blah 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 blah, and all those fancy things floating all over LinkedIn. Yeah, they're important, and if you can afford to, yeah, get one of them. But also be paying attention to your sales and to your marketing. So creating or attracting a customer is the responsibility of sales and marketing. Because of that, they are not cost centers, they are profit centers. What I do, it's not a cost center. You're talking to me. That's not a cost center. I'm a profit center. So there's no CTC, as people like to say these days. I love all these acronyms that just start floating all over LinkedIn. If you guys don't take advantage of LinkedIn for business purposes, you should. It's a nice source of education. You get to hear different opinions out there. And then you also get to learn all these fancy slang that's just floating around. So CTC, that's cost to company. So when you're considering sales and marketing initiatives, we are not a CTC, cost to the company. And in fact, if we're going to think of us as a CTC, cost to the company, there's also another cost that you're not thinking about, and which is the opportunity cost of not doing anything now. You're thinking CTC, cost the company, this consultant cost, blah, blah, blah. Or putting salespeople out in front of Grand Square is going to cost 50,000 for the whole day. That's a cost. You also need to think of the opportunity cost of doing nothing, of having this wonderful fancy factory, but then you're producing all this juice, all this orange juice, but then you don't have people doing anything. I know it looks like they're just monkeys out there in front of the store, dancing and blasting music and maybe causing a nuisance. So maybe, yes, there might be better ways to spend the money, but it's not just purely a cost to the company. There's an opportunity cost for not doing anything. So instead of just thinking of CTC, which is cost to the company, try and calculate the possible payoff if this thing works. So, should we be having people, uniform T-shirts, music blasting with the screen outside of Grand Square and other locations in Lagos and Abuja to get our shop into the stores? Should we be doing that? What are the possible benefits that might come from that? If we think that that's a wasteful idea, what other sales and marketing initiatives can we try where we think we're going to have good payoffs? So you shouldn't just be thinking of CTC, cost to the company. You should also be thinking about the payoff, as in if we do these things, which is much more likely to work, and what are the payoff that we can see from that. So that's the best way to decide. So that's all for today, folks. Remember, subscribe for free. It's not going to cost you a thing. The show, Sales for the Nigerian Business Person podcast. Subscribe for free. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, Pocket Cast, Anchor, Overcast, any podcast player of your choice. I just discovered another one today. I can't remember the name of that one. I should have written it down. So, any other podcast player of your choice. Also remember to connect with me on LinkedIn. The name is Tabeshima Ayede. I'm your host for the show. And yes, Tabeshima rhymes with Hiroshima. So I'll catch you guys at the next episode.